No worries. Let's jump into the NBA though, Brett. Some futures to talk about here. I don't think there's a nap in here, but the Eastern Conference, we have the Nets at plus 100 to be the favorite to come out of the East. And in the Western Conference, the Lakers are the favorite at plus 210. Now, the Lakers, Brett, are in a playoff game. What do you think about those Western Conference odds?
Yeah, so I guess we should probably explain the way the playing games work a little bit just so everyone knows. So the 7 and the 8 play, the winner gets the 7 seed. The loser plays the winner of the 9-10 game. So it's a double elimination if you're in the 7-8 seed. It's you have to win 2 to get in if you're the 9-10 seed. So the Lakers only need to win 1 to really make the playoffs, right, Higgins? And I think this is simply saying when healthy, who do we trust to come out of the West? And honestly, there's not a better three at the top of any lineup than LeBron James, Anthony Davis, and Andre Drummond. You add Schroeder to that lineup when healthy, Kuzma off the bench, Talon Horton Tucker off the bench, Caruso, we've seen play well in the postseason in the past, Montrezl Harrell as well. So the Lakers are extremely talented when healthy. And unlike some of these other teams like the Nuggets, who, lost Jamal Murray for the year, lost other pieces for the year, the Lakers guys are all expected to be back for the postseason. So it makes a lot of sense. I'm not betting on the Western Conference because I can't trust any of these teams to be healthy, Higgins. The Lakers with LeBron's ankle, the Clippers with Kawhi and Paul George's history, the Utah Jazz, Donovan Mitchell's ankle. So there's a lot of ankles to look at. I guess if I'm going to pick one team in the West, maybe I like the Mavericks at plus 2,000 just because plus 2,000 and I get one of the five best players in the world. Okay, I'll sign up for that. But you're right. I'm not taking any of these.
Yeah, I'm staying away from the conference champions, and I am looking at the finals champions, though, because I do think there is some value when you throw together all 20 of these teams, Brett. First off, the Nets, plus 210, they're the favorites, but I don't know how long you'll get them at over plus 200 odds, Brett. So I like that value right there at plus 210. So you're going to actually find me putting a full unit on the Nets as finals champions, but I'm not necessarily done yet. I have a few other long shot odds there are to play because, like I said, I think there's plenty of value here. And one team that I think on the East has some value is the team that represented the East last year, the Heat. I mean, they were able to do it last year. The team is largely the same again this year. Who's to say they get hot at the right time again? Maybe make another push. That's why I'm putting a half unit on them at plus 3,400. So that's a half unit on the Heat at plus 3,400 and one unit on the Nets at plus 210.
Yeah, okay, fair enough, Higgins. Well, like you, I believe the champion is coming out of the East as well this year. It's crazy to think all these years we've said the West is the dominant conference, and now we've got the Nets. And actually, Higgins, let me correct myself. The Philadelphia 76ers are sitting on top of the East, and that's who I am betting a half unit on to win the championship. I mentioned all the problems with health out in the West. Well, you want to talk about a team with health concerns. The Brooklyn Nets. Kevin Durant's missed a chunk of time. James Harden was nursing an injury right up until the end of the season. Kyrie Irving's been in and out of the lineup all year. I have, I think the Nets are the best team on the planet when healthy, Higgins. So I'm simply saying, if an injury were to occur, who do I think wins the NBA championship? And the Sixers at plus 850, who already are the number one seed in the East. So I think they deserve a little respect. They literally play in the Nets conference. So they had to beat the Nets head to head in every single category, and they did this year. They also have a top five player in the league in Joel Embiid. They have a coach who's won a championship, Doc Rivers. They have one of the best general managers in the league, Daryl Morey, who was with James Harden in Houston. I just really believe in what the Sixers are building this year. I think a lot of the pieces they added made sense in the offseason. So I'm with you, Higgins. I genuinely believe that the Nets, when healthy, will win the championship. But it's no fun to bet the Nets, so I found the Sixers bet, and I'm gonna stick a half unit on it.
Sixers have said for years to trust the process. The trust the process phase officially ended when they had Ben Simmons and Tobias Harris came over in that trade and everything, and they have that core trio. Is that trio as strong as the Kevin Durant, James Harden, Kyrie Irving? I'm not sure, but they're definitely healthier to your point. That is a very fair point there. And as the number one seed, I think plus 850 is some fantastic value, Brett. But there is some other fantastic value here in terms of the finals champions, Brett. And so, like what we did with March Madness, I may ruin my overall record a little bit here with some of these futures plays, but I'm going to be placing eight $1 bets because, as Kevin from The Office says, if someone ever gives you plus 10,000 odds, you take them. And there are eight teams with plus 10,000 or better odds. The Knicks at plus 11,000, the Celtics at plus 13,000, the Warriors at plus 15,000, Wizards at plus 25,000, and then the Grizzlies, Pacers, Hornets, and the Spurs all at plus. Sorry, the Grizzlies and Pacers, they're at plus 30,000, and the Hornets and the Spurs, they're at plus 50,000. So I have ranging from 110 to 1 odds to 500 to 1 odds. And I'll put $1 on that any day, Brett.
I I think you should just give me the $8. You can just Venmo it to me and tell you what, if the Spurs win the championship, Higgins, I'll give you 5 grand.
So, what really got me to actually make these picks, Brett, was seeing the Warriors at plus 15,000. Because if the Warriors beat the Lakers, what happens? That value will change drastically as soon as they get into a series, I think. Steph Curry has been as hot as can be, and I think that the Warriors might even get a favorite depending on who they would end up playing. Now, that depends on if they'd be the 7 seed or the 8 seed, by the way, but I do like the Warriors overall potentially in that game. So plus 15,000 kind of got me to look at all of those games or all of those teams at over plus 10,000 or more.
Yeah, I guess that's fair, Higgins. I mean, I don't know. I cannot support this strategy. I think you should just Venmo me $8 for being your friend, and it's the same thing. But hey, we've got some games that we want to talk about, Higgins, not just futures. And let's start with Warriors Lakers. I know it's technically a Wednesday game, not a Tuesday game, so we may not be the correct in order of days, but definitely in terms of betting priorities for the people.
Yes, and plus that game on Wednesday, you and I are both on. And since I basically gave part of my pitch in the futures, I will let you know now that I am taking the Warriors on the money line plus 160 here. We have seen the Lakers deal with injuries for quite a while. They did win their past 5 games heading into the playoffs right now. However, LeBron even said he wasn't sure if his ankle would ever be 100% really again. He's been taking it easy heading into the playoffs. Now, going into the playoffs, LeBron has shown time and again that he will do what it takes. However, Steph Curry is also doing Steph Curry things that only he can do right now. This is a matchup that we've seen be series of 7 in the NBA finals on numerous occasions. I think this playing game is the playing game to tune into personally, and I'm going to have my money on the underdog. Warriors money line plus 160.
Yeah, this is definitely the game to watch, Higgins. To be fair, I do think there is a great one in the East as well. Wizards Celtics should be a lot of fun. Again, like lots of star power, which is what you like to see, Higgins. But you mentioned it, Warriors Lakers game to watch. My logic's simple on this one. I actually found an extra half point over in the FanDuel Sportsbook in New Jersey. I got +5 on the Golden State Warriors. My logic is really, it's not analytic driven at all, Higgins. It is simply just, I guess, common sense. I don't know what you want to call it, just pure stupidness, whatever. But I just think if you told me straight up, like, pick a player you want to bet on as an underdog, Steph Curry. So in a one game situation where you're like, hey, you can win this game, rest up, and go play the 2 seed. So Higgins, you want to tell me you get the 2 seed, you get to go play the Suns. Well, I think the Warriors would sign up for that Sun matchup all day, and I would sign up to watch Steph Curry and Devin Booker battle it out for 7 games. Chris Paul, DeAndre Ayton, Draymond Green. It will be a lot of fun that series. So I could absolutely, to your point, see the Warriors winning on the money line, but I wasn't going to jinx us. So I'll just take Steph Curry as a 5 point dog in a playoff game.
That is the Western Conference game to watch. I think you and I are right on that, Brett. And I think these are the two teams that we will see in the 7 and the 8 seed coming out ultimately. Obviously, whoever loses between the Warriors and the Lakers will have to play the winner of the Spurs Grizzlies, like you had mentioned earlier, Brett. But you also mentioned there's a very good game in the East. That's on Tuesday, and I'm also going to be on that game. The Wizards versus the Celtics. Russell Westbrook and Bradley Beal seem to be on a mission. They seem like they may have been disrespected or something. I don't know what their personal feelings are right now, but they have been playing lights out recently, and I love the edge and the chip on the shoulder of the Wizards right now. So give me a Washington team that's playing for something against a Boston team that's really been kind of underwhelming in many aspects this season. They did have some injuries, they did have some locker room trouble. There were rumors around Brad Stevens and everything. And nothing about this year feels like the Boston Celtics year. I don't know if they're entirely in it. Obviously, going into the playoffs, you're going to be focused, but I don't know who wants it more. And if I'm going to ask who wants it more, and one of the teams has Russell Westbrook, my money's going on Russell Westbrook. So the Wizards money line at +115 is going to be my play here.
Yeah, this was a stay away game for me, Higgins. Celtics no Jalen Brown. That's a big loss, but I like the Celtics a lot. Obviously, I worked with Kemba Walker, so I'm a big fan. But Marcus Smart defensively, one of the 2 or 3 best defensive players in the game. And he's an impact. He's like a difference maker in the playoffs. He's just the guy that makes all the plays that no one wants to make. He's the guy that mixes it up. He guards anyone and everyone. So I just like the makeup of the Celtics, to be honest. I like that they're a team that's been here before. I feel like they've been in the Eastern Conference Finals every year over the past few years, but don't fact check me because that may be incorrect. But they've been there at least 2 of the last 3, if not all 3. And I think the Celtics, being battle tested matters. But I also love the Wizards. They're the hottest team in the NBA post All-Star break. Westbrook, Higgins, I don't know if you know this because no one is talking about it. Russell Westbrook has averaged a triple double 4 of the last 5 years.
We've talked about it.
No one is
We've
talking
brought
about
it up.
it. I
The
just
next best bet has brought it up. No one else is bringing it up though. The man is on a mission.
he is just, I mean, he's so special. Yes, he needs to limit his turnovers, but I don't fucking care if you're averaging triple doubles every fucking year. So,
Yeah.
I'll take Russell Westbrook. I'll go to war with Russell Westbrook any night. So that is why this was a stay away game for me. I love my guy Kemba Walker. I like the makeup of the Celtics. I just like both these teams too much, to be honest, Higgins. And it sucks because I also like the makeup of the Pacers, who have my guy Jeremy Lamb and Doug McDermott and our Q's guy O'Shea Brissett. So I can't bet against the Pacers. I worked for the Hornets. What am I going to do in the East?
You're going to take Tuesday off. That's what you're going to do. And that's why, even though we have an episode coming out on Thursday like we normally do, You decided to look all the way ahead to Saturday. And typically, it's me that's looking ahead in the NHL, but you did some of that in the NBA today.
Yeah, you got me with the crystal ball. You threw it all the way over here to the East Coast. I didn't know you had that good of an arm. You're
It's a
like,
long toss.
yeah, you're like Napoleon Dynamite's uncle. You threw it
Threw it right
over
over them
those
there
mountains.
mountains.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what you did. And a river too. I don't know. It's crazy. But yeah, I'm looking forward to Heat Bucks. You know why, Higgins? Because this is a series that the Miami Heat won handedly a year ago, and I'm getting 6 points on the opening line with Miami. I don't necessarily believe that the Bucks are the same team they were a year ago. I think they're going to be a little bit tougher in the postseason this year. Giannis was out a bunch of those games last year. Middleton played great, by the way, in those games, but they added Drew Holiday, who's a much better defensive player. They've added some shooting as well, some toughness with Bobby Portis. So maybe the Bucks are a little bit better this year. The Heat have not looked as good this year. I think they could have been boosted by the bubble a little bit. But I will take the Heat in game one because I believe in Heat culture. I believe in the 6 points, and I believe in what happened in the postseason last year, Higgins. So it may not matter for the whole series, but you better believe that confidence is going to be feeling good in game one. And we'll see what happens after game one because then it's a whole new ball game. You can adjust to the game plan you just saw. You can adjust to this year's roster, but I'll tell you what, as someone that's been in those locker rooms, they're watching this year's game film, but they're really studying last year's playoff film and seeing what kind of schemes Miami and Milwaukee came out in that series.
You know I like this pick because I have a half unit on the Heat to potentially win the whole thing because I like the value at plus 3,400. The Heat starting off against the Bucks, that's obviously a very tall task for them. Who knows? We saw Udonis Haslem finally get into a game in one of the final regular season games for the Heat. Maybe you throw him out there to get a little spark for the Heat in a playoff game against the Bucks, getting Giannis's face a little bit. You never know, but Heat plus 6. You mentioned what they did to the Bucks last year in the series playoff series. I like the pick as well, but I'm not making a basketball pick this far out. It's too far for me.
Yeah, I guess I jumped at it because I'm not sure if the 6 will be there on the 22nd. But, if you can still get 6 on the 22nd, you did a great job holding out. That was definitely a better move than placing it all these days in advance.
Other lines that we have for Saturday is Clippers 6.5 point favorites over the Mavs. The Nuggets are 2 point favorites over the Blazers, and the Knicks are 2.5 point favorites over the Hawks. That's New Jersey. They're only 2 point favorites over the Hawks in Oregon, though. So a few different interesting series I think we have there in the NBA, Brett.